Oh, hi, Ernie.
Hi. So we're on test Vav 15. We're dealing with the order of the procedure for the Olas HaTamid, whether the menorah was dealt with or first, or whether the Ketores was done. So the Gemara says, "Be not tova te maktir Ketores." The Ketores should be burning already while they fix the nails. Because if you don't say that, how do we explain in the afternoon ben arboy? Let's see. It says there, uvalos aronas aneros ben arbayis yaktirena. When the neros, Aaron lights the neros, and then he's maktir Torahs. So I understand. Is it true that first he lights the candles and then he does the Torahs? Can't be. Because when it says that the menorah shall burn from erev ad boker, tein la midasa, put enough oil. Number one, you have to put enough volume of oil in order for it to burn for 12 hours. The only avoda that can be done at night is the burning of the menorah, which implies that the Ketores had to be burned before the menorah. The menorah is the last avoda. So my Kavan Rachmana, what does it mean that uvalos aronas aneros ben arba'im yaktirena? It doesn't mean that the neros go first. It's be'id nadloka te maktir Torahs. While you're lighting the menorah, the Ketores shall be burning already. Chanami in the morning as well. Be'id natova te maktir Torahs. The Ketores should be burning while you do the nails. By the way, the halacha is first you light the Ketores and then you fix the nail. Abishol will say that you can.
How do they burn the Ketores then?
They put it on the Mizbeach Hazav and they burn it there with coals.
Oh, the fire is always there.
The fire's always, and they bring coals from the outside Mizbeach to burn it.
Okay, all right.
So Abisholam el Chashani Yosim Tzif Oso. It says Yaroch Oso Aharon, which implies that the Kohen lights the menorah last. That's at night, but that's only in the morning. It could be different to fit what Abishol says, that first you light the nails, then you do the Torahs. Rav Papa Amar Loi Kasha. Rav Papa can be metaretz the contradiction between the two Mishnayos to say Harabonon Ha Abishol, that it's simply Machlokes Tanoim. Which one goes first? So therefore, our Mishnah in Masech Yoma. Who have you then learned it? Like Rabbanon and Payis Kabashol. So I understand that the order of our Mishnah is like the Chachamim. And then the second in the Perek Sheni, where it talks about the lottery, you're explaining the coin Abishol. So, and then Ema Seifa. Later on, it'll say, hey, Violos Atami. They bring the coin Gadol on Yom Kippur, the Tami, Krotzoi. He makes the incision, and somebody else finishes it. Umerik Acher Shchita Yado, somebody else finishes the Shchita. Then, Nichnes Lahakter Saktoris. Then he burns the Torah. So now you're back to the sheet of the Chachamim. So I understand, says Yoma, Reish of the Sefer Rabbanim, it's also Abishol. The Reish of the Sefer the Rabban in the middle is Abishol. That doesn't make any sense. No, that's how it is. Reish of the Sefer Rabban, and it's also Abishol. Now, Bishma Abaya Lo Amar Rav Papa. We understand now very well why Abaya has his own sheet that doesn't look like Rav Papa, because he doesn't like saying Reish of the Sefer Rabban and it's also Abishol. Abaya is not happy with that construct. Rav Papa, the bigger question is, why didn't Rav Papa hold like Abaya? Right? My time alone kabaya. Amalacha. Tona bereisha tova shtei neiros. Because you know what? The neiros that we're talking about are two different neiros. Gentlemen, the menorah had 7 neiros. When they came in, the usually 5 neiros had extinguished. And the 2 neiros, the one that was the most westerly, remained. So the procedure was first, they fixed the 5 neiros. That means they removed the ashes and they put new wicks in. Then they did the ketores. Then they did the last 2 neiros. So the Baraisa that talks about neiros, it depends which neiros you're talking about. Tana Bereisha Tova Shtei neiros, which goes after the Christ. V'hadra Tovas Chamesh neiros. The Sidra the Tana means the Kohen Gadol was taught the halachas how it should be, and then the actual order is he repeated exactly the way we learned, and it's not makbid on how he was taught in the 7 days before. Goof. Then the Mishnah said how he applied the blood of the ola to the to the mizbech. Balo lekir mizrachit tzvayis. He goes to the northeast corner first, and nosim mizrachit tzvayis. He gives blood on that corner. Then he goes to the southwestern corner, nosim aravis tzvayis, and he gives blood there. Now that was the Tanakam. Tani Allah. Rabbi Shimon ben Ish Mishnah B'Tami. He has a different version. He says, Balo Kerem Mizrachit Tzvaynis. He comes to the northeastern corner, Noisim Mizrachit Tzvaynis, and he applies the blood. But then when he goes to the Maravis Droinis, when he goes to the southwest corner, he doesn't apply it in one time. He plays one Noisim Marava. He puts one application on the west, where did he come up with this? My time, Rav Shimon Yesha Mitzvah. Am Rav Yeshua. Mishum Chad be Rav Yame. Amr Kra. Useiri Zimechad Chatos Lashem. Al Oila Satomid Yeyasa Venisko. Even though it's an Olahi, Amr Achmona Avid B'Maisa Chatos. Remember, an Ola is applied Shtayim Shein Arba. You splash one splash on one corner, which covers 2 walls, and you splash another splash on the other corner, covering 2 walls. So with 2 splashes, you cover 4 walls. A chatis has its application, 1 on each corner. So the pasuk here is telling us that on Yom Kippur, according to Shur Ben Mitzvah, it's an ola, but the Torah says, due to some of it, an act of a chatas. Haketza. Noisen achas on the northeast corner, he throws 1 splash that covers both walls, shishtaim kamaisa oila, which is normally the way the oila is processed. And shem shtaim kamaisa chatas. And then he does 2 applications individually, like you would apply to the horn of each chatas. Freik the Gemara v'litin shtaim shein arba kamaisa oila. Why not do 2 that would be 4 like an oila? The arba shein arba kamaisa chatas, and then apply the blood again on each corner. So the Gemara says, Lo matzinu damim shemechaprim b'chayz mechap. Once you apply the ola blood, you have kapara. We never find blood that's applied twice. So that's not an answer. What we also don't see, we've never seen an example where you apply some of the blood like a chatas and some of it like an oil. So if you're going to change completely. You must learn that the reason we do it because the Torah has put it together in the same pasuk. At first you do the ola, and then you do the chatas. The Gemara says, "Hasam pisuk matonis ba'almihi." Now, the only difference he's doing is how you apply the blood. And really, there's no difference in kapor whether you did it with one zrika or you did it on two sides. So what's the big difference? The nace of achashi shtaim lamata, kemaisa oila. Why not remember? Normally, the ola blood goes below the line that divides the mizbeach. So why not put two on the below the line like an ola and shtaim lamala kemaisa chat? And for the Gemara, we never find by a korban that you apply blood below the line or above it. For the Gemara below, I'll show you that you do vatnan. On Yom Kippur, when you do achas, you apply above and you apply below. So that's kematzli. That the blood goes like this, drop. It's not like multiple applications. One application that drops. My kamatzlif, like multiple drops. Like when you're using a strap to beat somebody. Now, the Gemara doesn't accept this negation of the thought that there are other korbanos where you can apply the blood above and below, right? The love atnan. He's a mimenu al tahara shel mizbeach sheva pa'amim. That by other application of the blood, the Kohen Gadol applies blood on the top of the mizbeach. My lava pagid in mizbeach. And tiaro, the Gemara is learning now, means right at the 50% part. And you can't be mitzvah, you can't. There's a concept in halacha, you can't know specifically where you are. So if you apply it at 50%, there's going to be some above and some below. So my lab upagid mizbeach. So keda amri inchi tiara upagid yoma. Tiara means like high noon, which is like half at 50% of the mizbeach. Amar Rabbi Bar Shilo, we're on Tesvav and Beis. La gufa de mizbeach. We're not talking about half up the mizbeach. We're talking about the chsiv uche'etzam hashamayim latoh. It means you have to put it on a clean space on the top of the mizbeach where there isn't ashes and other things there. Like tohar meaning clear, like ke'etzam hashamayim latoh. Because sometimes tohar, like pure, means a clean area. Okay. So Maishna the Avodah Bereish Varayar Chadis. Now we see that this Korban Oilas Hatomit on Yom Kippur was unique in that you had certain aspects of it that were done as an Ola, and certain that were done as a Chatis because the Pasuk said it. However, why are we doing the processing of the Ola first? Maybe Nesa Bereish the Chatis, but other Nesa doing it. Maybe we should process it like a Chatis and then an oil. So where says that can't be? Kivan the oily, he called satomid. It's an oil. You're treating it in certain aspects like a Chatis, but it's still an oil. So the processing of the oil should be done first. Now the Gemara wants to know, why do we start on the northeast corner of the Mizbeach? Ma'isha the Yav Mizrach Tzfonis, and then Umarav is Droimes. Why not Nesav Droimes Mizrachis? Why not put it on the southeast and then go to Tzfonis Varovis and then go to northwest? That direction. So the Gemara has a good answer. Oila to una yesod. The foundation at the base of the Mizbeach was absent on the south and on the east side, except for one amma. On the in northeast, there was one amma sticking there, and on the southwest, there was one amma sticking there. But the remaining mizbech over there didn't have a yesod. So the Mizrachis Tzfonis, the Droimus Mizrachis, the southeast corner didn't have a yesod, so you couldn't start there. Now, so fine.
Don't we always have go counterclockwise?
So that's the Gemara's second. But so now we have two corners to give. You have the northeast, and then you have the southwest. So the Gemara wants to know why Meister Yov Bereishim Mizrach and Tzfon Yisvadim Rav Yisraelis. Why not start southwest and then go northeast? Because that's Elazar's issue. Kiven Damar Kol Pina Shat the point of Lo Yehu El Derech Yamin LaMizrach. That means when the Kohen Gadol walked up the ramp, he walked up the southern ramp. You always turn to your right. So turning to your right first will lead you to the northeast corner first, and then the southwest corner, period. Now, the pasuk mentions an ola and a chatas in the same pasuk. So how do you know that you do it as an ola, but you do certain processes as a chatas? Maybe you take one of the korban chatas like the so'ir for the musaf and treat it a little bit like an ola. The more answers lo sakit. That doesn't make any sense. Dichsiv al oilos hatamid yeyasev v'nisko. My kom rachmona midi the chatas shadia oila. That is an aspect of a chatas you should throw onto a korban ola, not vice versa. Okay, it's not also. So
we're not afraid he's going to get mixed up, because we know that if he makes a mistake from one korban to the other, it's possible. So by doing some things that you apply,
you don't
for
do something.
chatas,
He was trained that the Ola Satomid of Yom Kippur, you applied the blood. The only change was that second application of the blood on the southwest corner was applied twice, 1, 2, instead of splashing it. That's it. That's the only change we're talking about. That's the Ma'aseh Chatas that was done to the Ola Satom. So it's not a huge diversion from what is normally done. Okay, so now we talked about the sugya of the Ola Satomid. We're going to quote a mishnah from Masechtas Tamid. Yeah, that was done every day. Amar lahem Mamuna. The Kohen appointed as the officer, who's choosing everybody to do the avoid. He would announce, go and bring one of the sheep that is in the office of the Tloy. Now, the Beis HaMoikid, there was a big, if we were together, I'd show you the picture that we always have. It's on the northern side of the big room that had 4 offices in it. And it was the office that was northwest. There were 4 offices in that building. Remember, half of this building was in the Azara, half of the building was outside the Azara. One was the office where they kept the sheep. These were the seals and the receipts that when people would come to buy korbanos, they would give them the receipt. We'll see what that was. That was where they kept fire.
Ernie, can I show you the picture?
Sure.
I don't know if you can see it. Hold on, you can't see with this thing. 1 second, let me just take off my background. Yeah, you don't have to. Okay. I'll take off my background a second. Hold on.
Well, that's the office that had 4 corners like that.
Uh-huh.
It has 4 corners.
Right. But the typical
You
map
can
that
look
I
at, you
always
can
show
look
you-
in the art scroll. There's a whole thing on the beginning.
Right, but the typical
Yeah, but-
picture that I always show when we're learning together of the outline of the Beis Hamikdash, we can see exactly where it's had a dome on it, this office. And tomorrow I'll bring it down. I'm not in my office where I keep that, but I'll bring it downstairs tomorrow and we'll show the picture. So the Reminu, Arba Lishachos Hayel Beis Hamoikim, Kiktonius Apsuchos Latraktu. There were 4 offices, rooms, smaller rooms in each corner. Stein Bakoidish, Stein Bachol, like I said. The Azara went right through the middle of that room. So that 2 of the offices were considered in the Azara. And 2 of the offices were outside of the Azara. That's why it says Stein Bakoidish, Stein Bachol. V'roshe Pisposim Avdil Bekoidish Lachol. There were like little walls sticking out of the side of that room where you could see very clearly where the Azara starts and where's the Chol, so that people who are in that room, they know how to conduct themselves, because only Kohanim could go on the Azara.
Hold on a second. I got it here in the picture. Yeah. That's the picture.
Where's your finger?
Yeah, they're underneath there. That's the picture. No?
Okay, it does. The resolution is not very good.
Well, what can I say? I'll get it better next time. I'll
Okay.
take a better picture.
Okay.
What
Now,
are you trying to? What are you pointing out here?
hang on one second.
No. Just guys.
Walter,
the introduc-
when the one
at-
you showed is the top picture, not the bottom picture.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Listen,
Hold on.
at the introduction of the art scroll, there's a whole schematic here of the Beis Hamikdash. At the very beginning, in color. It's got everything there.
And the 4 rooms are 37, 38, 39, and 40.
Yeah. Right.
Walter, it's the top picture.
This one.
The top one in your left page.
No, it's not that top one. That's
Yes,
different.
yes.
That's the altar. That's the other thing. This has got the different the walls between them and everything. Trust me.
Okay. So this should be familiar to everybody. We've been using this for the last 30 years. So this is the Beis Hamikdash. Here's the Heichal with the Ulam. Here's the Mizbeach.
That's exactly what the art scroll has at the
So
beginning.
look, this is this Beis Hamoikim, this building here.
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
it. We got
see-
it.
You can see it half of it was divided. Two of these
Yeah.
offices were in the Azara, and 2 of the offices were outside.
Outside, right. That's 40, 39, 37, 38, 39, 40.
See that?
Yes.
But that shows you where it sticks into the Azara bed.
Right,
Correct?
right.
Okay. And now, Mahayu Mishamshois. What were these officers used for? The Maravis Droimis, the southwest one, he Haital Lishkas Tlea Corbin. This was where they kept the sheep that had been checked for 4
It's
days
just
in
that-
advance prior to them being chosen to be shechted for the Korban HaTamid.
Chamber of the Lambs.
And we'll continue this analysis tomorrow, Mirza Hashem. So tomorrow, again,
7:30.
we'll learn at 7:30. It's a very short blot, shouldn't have any problem. And then the Tzurim Rabbanon will be at 8:00.
Okay. Shkoyach,
Okay.
honey.
Have
Very
a good
good.
day, everybody.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Mike.
Shkoyach, Ernie, shkoyach.
Let's go.